whose lives do not matter in this country because of the color of their skin. I'm here tonight to confront the violence and racist policing of the Portland Police Bureau. I'm here to take a stand against structural racism, foundational to American capitalism, that divides working class people by the color of our skin to weaken us and to enrich the ruling class. And this fight will not only happen in the streets of Portland tonight. This fight against structural racism is not confined to the police precinct, to the courthouse, or to the prison system. Because Black life must matter in the workplace, where wage disparities and racist hiring practices persist. Black life must matter in our for-profit healthcare system, where Black women are up to 6 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women. And Black life must matter in our education system, where schools remain segregated, underfunded, and overcrowded. Now, I'm a mom of a 2-year-old here in Northeast Portland, and I cannot afford to pay $1,000 a month to send my kid to preschool. And I bet a lot of you can't either. So our preschool initiative will create free preschool for all 3- and 4-year-olds here in Multnomah County, paid for by a tax by the wealthiest among us, those who can afford to pay it. Those who have been shamefully underpaid for years for the hard work they do to take care of our kids. Okay, now to win in November, we need you guys to help us talk to thousands of voters. So we're an entirely volunteer and grassroots organization. If you visit upnow2020.org, click Get Involved, and find a way to join our team. Tonight, we're fighting to defund the police. Yes, we are fighting to defund the police. In November, let's fight to refund the people. Thank you.
Talk about defunding the police and some other things as well. But before I'm up here, I want to introduce someone who's become, it's funny how a lot of us have become really good friends over the last 2 months, right? Someone who I found a lot of admiration for, someone who always delivers a message that is clear and concise, someone that really puts all of this into perspective and reminds us why we are really here. I would like to introduce Destiny Houston. She's quite an amazing woman, and hopefully you'll hear her speak. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Why are we here? Why are we here? Defund the police. Why are we here? What do we want to do? I can't hear you. What do we want to do? I'm going to share a little bit about what I think we could do with that money. Personally, I want to see all traffic violations, fees through the Department of Motor Vehicles forgiven for the Black community, who bears the burden of all of that. They're making money off of us in that way. We need to take the money from the police, and I want all of those things forgiven. I want an immediate cease and desist on traffic stops. We can take some of that money, and we can have cameras along the freeway. They have proven that the flashing signs do just as much as seeing a police officer and help us all slow down. We can take that money and we can figure out how to support each other as a community, how to get back to loving each other, instead of calling the police when someone is in a mental health crisis, Instead of calling the police because you see two black people fighting, instead of calling the police for any reason, we can have community members standing by ready, highly trained individuals to come and handle mental health crises, to come and handle sexual violence. We can get back to loving each other. We've got to get back to loving each other. I'm going to share a little story with you, a beautiful story. I was going to pick up some food. This was probably 3 days ago, right there on 64th and Powell. And I noticed there's tension. There's two cars parked, and there's some tension. And we're going to say there's driver A and driver B. And I noticed two beautiful black men get out of their cars. And that's how I talk about black men, by the way. I think y'all are beautiful. I don't mean that in any kind of way. I think you are beautiful. So I noticed there's tension. And I'm hearing yelling going on. And I realize a fight is about to happen. And I am right in the middle of them. And driver A is saying, I'm just trying to get to work. And driver B is saying, I'm just trying to get my food. Let's go, let's go. And they're walking towards each other, and they come to a stop right in front of me. And I said, please, let's go to the love. Brothers, please, we have to love each other. And driver A kind of hears me, but they're intense, they're angry. And I said, I love you. I love you. Do you hear me? Black Lives Matter. I love you. And finally, driver A caught wind, and he said, brother, she's right. She's right. We can't be doing this. Black Lives Matter. And he put his arms out, and they hugged. They hugged. And I said, I love you. I mean that. And they both said, we love you too. We love you too. And they went on their way. Now imagine if a white person had seen that and decided to call the police. Or imagine if I myself, I'm not afraid of my people. Let me make that really clear though. I'm not afraid of my people. Imagine if I had decided to call the police, how that could have gone. So I just shouted out the love, and it was one of the most beautiful things. And that's what we need to get back to, caring about each other, reminding each other. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to make a mistake. We've got to center on love. I have a lot of ideas for how we could spend that money to rebuild a loving community. So defunding the police is why we're here today. And we're also here, they're calling this the Summer of George. One of the roles I play in life is I'm a doula. So I think a lot about birth, and I think a lot about death. And some of you heard me say this already today, But I want you to think about how many black people have been robbed of the opportunity to die sacredly, to die in the comfort of their home or the hospital, surrounded by people who love them. How many black people have been robbed of the opportunity to say their last I love yous, to get to live that long life? We're not all gonna get there. We're not all gonna get there. But how many black people, we will never know how many, died like Mr. Floyd, excuse me. He was in handcuffs, face down on the ground. I invite all of you to read the transcripts of that arrest. That's right, I can't breathe. I invite all of you to read the transcripts. He said, I can't breathe over 20 times. He cried out for his mama over 10 times. He died face down on the ground at the hands of people who hated him, surrounded by people who wanted to help him, and they didn't. They couldn't for fear of their own lives. So he died surrounded by people and all alone. And that brings me to a story, a really short story. It's not even a story, it's more of a glimpse into the lives of 3 black boys. Fred Harris was born in 1939 in Arkansas. John Lewis was born in 1940 in Troy, Alabama. And Emmett Till was born in 1941 in Chicago, Illinois. Right now, by the way, the senator for Arkansas, Tom Cotton, just tried to use the fact that the forefathers, or the founding oppressors, just tried to use that they felt slavery was a necessary evil as a reason to keep the 1619 Project out of schools. He doesn't want the truth taught in schools, and that's today. So now you imagine Fred Harris in 1939 in Arkansas. Let's imagine what he survived. He would eventually make his way to Portland. He would graduate from Jefferson High School. He would become one of our beloved bus drivers. He would marry my mother, and they would have me. He lived a simple life, my daddy. He was a bird watcher. He loved to drive off to the ocean. He was a photographer, but mostly he loved his job. He had carved out a safe place for himself in this world, as safe as can be for a Black man. A simple life. John Lewis led an extraordinary life, a life that touches all of us. John Lewis gave us getting in good trouble, necessary trouble. John Lewis secured our right to vote. John Lewis marched with Dr. King. John Lewis marched and worked with Malcolm X. John Lewis lived an extraordinary life. And Emmett Till was cut down at 14 in Money, Mississippi, because a white woman said he looked at her. Emmett Till, we will never know if Emmett Till was going to lead a simple life like my father did, or become an extraordinary man like John Lewis, and it doesn't matter. Emmett Till's life mattered. Emmett Till's life mattered. It doesn't matter what Emmett Till wanted to do with his life. It doesn't matter what his dreams were. George Floyd wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. I want you to imagine that. You can look it up. His kindergarten teacher saved his little essay. It doesn't matter what Emmett Till wanted to be. We will never know. Black lives matter. Black lives matter every day, all day. And Black lives matter no matter what form they take. Black lives matter no matter how they are lived. They matter. And death is sacred. Death is sacred. And we all deserve the chance to die the way my father did, surrounded by doctors and nurses caring for him, keeping him warm, with me telling him he was safe. With him trying to talk to me, and I said, Daddy, it's okay, I know. I love you. And he smiled at me, his real smile. And then he closed his eyes and he went on to the next place. And John Lewis, I give so much thanks to the Creator that he was so protected that not only did this man live to be 80, my father lived to be 80, Emmett Till would have been 79. Sorry, I'm getting distracted over here. John Lewis was so protected that not only was he able to say his last I love yous, he left an I love you for us. He thought of us. He thought of us. Now these words I'm about to share with you are sacred words. They're not my own. You don't need to applaud for me. We could do a silent applaud. But I'm going to share with you what he left for us. John Lewis, the civil rights leader who died on July 17th, wrote this essay shortly before his death to be published on the day of his funeral. We have work to do. He knew we had work to do. And he loved us enough to leave us one last inspiration. He said, while my time here has come to an end, I want you to know that in the last days and hours of my life, you inspired me. You gave me hope about the next chapter of the great American story. When you used your power to make a difference in our society. Millions of people, motivated simply by human compassion, laid down the burdens of division. Around the world and the country, you set aside race, class, age, language, and nationality to demand respect for human dignity, to demand respect for human dignity. That is why I had to go and see Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington. I just had to see it and feel it for myself, that after many years of silent witness, the truth is marching on. Emmett Till was my George Floyd, my Rayshard Brooks, my Sandra Bland, and my Breonna Taylor. He was 14 when he was killed, and I was only 15 years old at the time. I will never, ever forget the moment that I realized he could have easily been me. In those days, fear constrained us like an imaginary prison, and troubling thoughts of potential brutality committed for no understandable reason were the bars. Though I was surrounded by two loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, their love could not protect me from the unholy oppression that lay just outside the family circle. Unchecked, unrestrained violence and government-sanctioned terror had the power to turn a simple stroll to the store for some Skittles or an innocent morning jog down a lonesome country road into a nightmare. If we are to survive as one unified nation, we must discover what so readily takes root in our hearts that would rob Mother Emanuel Church of South Carolina of her brightest and best, shoot unwitting concert goers in Las Vegas, and choke to death the hopes and dreams of a gifted violinist like Elijah McClain. Like so many young people today, I was searching for a way out, or some might say a way in, when I heard the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on an old radio. He was teaching about the philosophy and the discipline of nonviolence. He said we are all complicit when we tolerate injustice. He said it is not okay to say it will get better by and by. He said each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, and speak out. When you see something that is not right, you must say something. You must do something. Democracy is not a state, it is an act. And each generation must do its part to build what we called the beloved community, a nation and world society at peace with itself. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can save the soul of America. Ordinary people, that's all of you. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can save the soul of America by getting in what I call good trouble, necessary trouble. Voting and participating in the democratic process are key. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it. You must also study and learn the lessons of history because humanity has been involved in the soul-wrenching existential struggle for a very long time. People on every continent have stood in your shoes through decades and centuries before you. The truth does not change. The truth does not change, and that is why the answers worked out long ago can help you find solutions to the challenges of our time. Continue to build union between movements stretching across the globe, because we must put away our willingness to profit from the exploitation of others. We must put away our willingness to profit off the exploitation of others. Defund the police. Defund the police. I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate that the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence is the more excellent way. Now it is your turn to let freedom ring. It's our turn to let freedom ring. It is your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide. Let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide. John Lewis. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Say it like George Floyd was your father. Black Lives Matter. He was somebody's father. Black Lives Matter. Breonna Taylor was somebody's daughter. Rayshard Brooks was somebody's father. Sandra Bland was somebody's teacher. Black Lives Matter. We are going to defund the police because Black Lives Matter, because that money belongs in our community, and we're going to do what John Lewis said. We're going to work together, and we are going to build that beloved community. We are going to make it happen, and we're going to keep marching on. We are going to keep marching on.
Here since the beginning, like May 31st, 2020, I was here for George Floyd's vigil, and I have to say that's the most Black people I've seen at a protest this whole time. Talking about the pain they feel as a person from Portland. I don't think Portland is creating a space for Black people anymore. It's in the eyes of the press, white people are more important. In our own movement, white people are more important than Black people. That doesn't make any sense. Black Lives Matter, but why are white people on the front covers of the press? If you ever see a Black person glare at you when you're at a protest, I don't think they really mean it. But you have to understand, from the eyes of a Black person here, everyone here isn't an ally. Everyone here isn't here for the right reason, because the amount of performative activism Portland carries is an incredible amount. And I feel like that's just a West Coast thing. I don't know if it's just a Portland thing, but people here aren't here for the real intention, for the real revolution. They're here for the Instagram clout. They're here for the posts they can see. They're here for meeting up their friends, getting drunk, like all of the reasons that they're not supposed to be here for. So really look inside and think about, every time you go down to the Justice Center, every time you go down to a protest, what are you learning? What are you feeling? What are you carrying? Are you here to just to see a friend? Are you here to just to socialize? Or are you here to actually understand? Are you here to actually comprehend about what's gonna happen? What Black people are going through every day? Because people, when they go down to the JC and they wear their armor, they become a target. I have a target on my back. I've been a target. Since the day I was born, I'm a target. But when you go down to the JC, you're suddenly a target, and it gets overwhelming. It's too much. But you get to take off what makes you a target, and you get to go home to your family. When I go to the JC, I have to go home, and I have to carry everything I went through there, and I have to take it home with me. It's a hard thing to do. And every time I go down to the Justice Center, I get the same amount of disrespect that I've always gotten. The first day I went down there with my group of friends, my cousins, the amount of disrespect that people gave us. We tried to talk, we weren't allowed to. We were told that this isn't about Black Lives Matter, this is about classism. That doesn't make any sense. Of course it's about Black lives. This has always been about Black lives. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard what's going on with the wall of moms. They're crazy. But we were the first ones to see that because we passed out from all the tear gas and they stood there. These moms that are supposed to have an internal instinct, who are supposed to carry and protect us, these white people who are standing there doing nothing, literally going down there saying that they're going to stand between a white person. Where were you standing when I was passed out on the ground? Well, not I, but when my friends are passed out on the ground, where were you? Standing there looking for your friends, standing there drunk, standing there confused, because you weren't doing enough. White people in here need to come down here with purpose. You need to be here for a reason, because if you're just coming down here for fun, if you're just coming down here to see whatever you want, you don't want to stay on the couch for the night, like, that's not what you should be here for. You should be here to get a better mentality, a better reason, a better view of the world, to meet a Black person. Because, you know, Portland is the whitest, no, Oregon's the whitest state, right? Like, Portland's the whitest city. So, how many, like, ooh, I'm getting nervous, sorry. Everyone here needs to be doing a better job. There's a lot of people here who are true allies, who are here for the right reason, who will stand next to me through every single protest I will go through, and if a police ever comes up, they're right in front of me. That's the kind of effort that I need to be seeing from everyone here, because I don't see that effort from everyone in this crowd. I see everyone going to get pizza. But where's them, like, what are you doing? Are you actually educating yourself? Because it's not my job to educate you, but I have to educate you right now about how to be a better ally, which I shouldn't need to do. But everyone needs to be doing a better job. Everyone needs to be getting out there more. The amount of people I saw the first week after George Floyd's death compared to what I see right now is disrespectful to Black people. It really is. Like, it's entirely disrespectful. Thousands of people would come out every single day because they were angry. But where's that anger now? Where are you putting that anger now? Are you just forgetting it? Is in the back of your mind every day? Are you thinking, oh no, what about the Black Lives Matter revolution? Never mind, let me go think about my coffee order. That's not what you should be doing. You should be thinking about it and you should be getting angry. The same anger you saw when you see George Floyd's video. You should feel that anger every day and you should be out here every day. Because there are events that are happening every day, but every friggin' week there are less and less people coming out, which makes no sense. Just make sure when you come out here, you're supporting a Black person. You're listening to a Black person. Because every time I go down to the Justice Center and I have to demand your attention, it hurts. It hurts to see that no one cares. Because it feels like no one cares. And I know people care. I know there are white people who are here who actually give a fuck. But they don't present that. They don't show that. Because when you're a Black person and you come to these protests, your defenses are up. You're not here, like, you don't see. You will never know that, but when you look at a crowd of white people, it's not a nice, warming feeling. You have to show that it's a nice, warming feeling. There are crowds of white people where I'm like, yes, you guys are proper allies, but you guys don't present yourselves like that every time. Because literally the speaker here before, how many times did she have to say Black Lives Matter before? Like half the crowd started saying it. She had to say it like 6 times. Let me see, Black Lives Matter. You see that? You guys didn't even give her half of that. Like, she had to say it 3 times in order to say that. Chants are just a way for us to feel the crowd, and you don't even present it like that. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. That's not enough. Like, say it with your heart, because this is a memory thing. When you say Black Lives Matter enough, the amount of times I've said Black Lives Matter, and how I truly think it every single time, it changes you. Chants aren't just here for performativism. That's not a word, but they're not here for that. They're here to remind you every second that you're there, every time you're just standing there, to remind you why you're here. When you say his name, you're remembering that video. You're remembering the feelings you saw the first time you saw it. It's not just a chant, it's a deeper meaning. It means more. Everything here means more, and you have to dig in deeper to find it. Also, I don't know if they're still there. That wall of dads or veterans, I don't know which one you guys are, but I'm very serious when I say this. You need to keep your game up. I know you're standing there in a wall and you have to do whatever, but that wall of moms really set the bar low for you guys, and you need to bring it up because that was disappointing, those wall of moms. They were literally, my friends, they call them wall of bananas because we have nightmares about how they just stood there like this while we were passed out on the ground. That doesn't make sense. So do better. Hear this story and do better. Make sure that next time you see a wall or next time you're just out there, you're doing better, because I shouldn't have to remind you every single time to do better. You should always remember that you can take next steps. You should always feel uncomfortable when you're here. You should always feel uncomfortable in this world because I have to feel uncomfortable in this world. So you need to push yourselves and make sure that you're keeping everyone around you accountable, because the accountability is key. Making sure your friends, your family are not doing the shit they're not supposed to, making sure you're actually stepping up, getting in that argument should be heated. If your family are racist, you should, next time you see them, that argument should be insane because you are angry. You should feel the anger that every one of my cousins have. That's really what I'm gonna say for the night, but thank you guys. I hope you, one more thing. The first night I came down here, or down to the Justice Center, there were a lot of white people fucking shit up. A lot of white people breaking shit. You should never start that, ever. How are you that angry that you need to go do that? That's literally, how could you feel that anger right now? Because you're white. How can you feel that? Black people, they have, if you want to go burn a building down, go burn a building down, because 400 years is too much, and it just keeps on going. So that's anger. That's built up anger. Generations of anger. They have every right to be angry. But white people, you should take a step back and support those black people who are angry. You should not be starting this shit. You should not. You should not be instigating anything. When we go down to the Justice Center, there are people just making loud noise. Those fireworks, they're not helpful. We all have PTSD from going down there too much. Literally now, loud noises now make me scared. They make me feel like I'm down there again. So when you make unnecessary noises down there, it doesn't help anyone. It just makes more fear in a black person's body, which why on earth would you do that if you're at a Black Lives Matter protest? That is a question you should be asking yourself too. Everything you do, should I be doing it at a Black Lives Matter protest? Like, keep it in your head constantly, because sometimes white people just get out of line for no reason at all. No reason. Who do you think you are at a Black Lives Matter protest? You should be in the back quivering because of what your ancestors have done to my ancestors. You have too much privilege at a protest that isn't for you. That doesn't make sense. Oh, my Siri caught all of that. That is actually what I'm going to say for the night, but I hope you guys keep that in mind. Follow PDX Black Youth Movement on Instagram. That is who me and my cousins, we do every Thursday we're out on the streets, and yet 20 people show up compared to the thousands that used to show up last month. Come out to our events. We need them. We are actual Black Portland teens who are going through it every fucking day. Every day we have to live the life of a black person in Portland, something that no one else experienced. And suddenly people don't want to hear our voices, but they come out to movements, they come out to events that don't actually make a difference or hear people's voices. But come out to our events so that we can feel supported and you can hear the actual stories. Because we go off for hours. We go off for hours of just stories in Portland, experiences we've had in Portland, which is something that you might not get everywhere else. And we need to feel more support. Tell your friends about it. Tell your family members, tell your coworkers. The Black Youth Movement, they are Portland teens who need support. We need help, and we need more. We just need a lot of help. Also, if anyone knows where I can get print shop posters, just like posters, please find me after this. But thank you guys. Have a good night. Black Lives Matter.
And then we get to the main speaker. If you haven't followed the PDX Black Youth Movement on Twitter, get your phones out right now and do that. I want to hear a very loud Black Lives Matter for Z right now. That is the future of Portland right there, and so grateful she had a chance to speak. Want to get word out, there will be a march and protest after this event. Feel free to join, feel free not to join. If you're looking for any defensive equipment or materials, they are by the food tent. They are free. Avail yourselves of them if you wish. Also, want to give a shout out to our DJ Tempo. She is a woman of color, 13 years old. And providing party vibe for this event. They have a Cashapp. It is $skambeezy, SKAMBEEZY. Throw them some bucks because they're awesome. All right, now to the main event. MacSmiff is a tech analyst, journalist, concert producer, social justice activist, husband and father of 4. As a steward of the local hip-hop scene, he has spent years protesting police brutality and overreach toward Black and brown communities. This summer, he is focused on the tangible goal of defunding the Portland police. Can I get a loud Black Lives Matter for MacSmiff?
What's up again, y'all? How y'all doing? It's dark now. I can't see all your faces. I was going to write a speech and I didn't. Been kind of busy. But I want to say thank you to everybody that's out here. The point of this event was really to talk more about defunding and what that means. I promised to go ahead and do that. First, like 9 years ago, I started gardening. It was something that helped me with stress and something that I wanted to do because I want to move one day to like a faraway country where there's nothing there and just, you know, take care of myself. So I started gardening, so I have to learn how to feed myself. I started in St. John's in the clay. I used to live on Fessenden, and you know, the zombies walk up and down the block. And they look for dollars and they ask you questions and they look in your house or whatever. So I started a garden in the front yard on purpose. I wanted the garden to be in the front yard and I wanted people to see. And my landlord wasn't happy that I dug up a big old chunk of his grass and just started a garden there, but that's what I did. And everyone said that I couldn't grow any food in that clay, in that red St. John's clay. Nothing's gonna grow. And sure enough, when I started digging up the clay, it was hard, like it was hard. I thought it was rocks and it was just dirt, just stuck to itself. And I spent about a week just like tilling that dirt. And everyone's like, just go to Home Depot and buy some dirt, just bring it in. And I was like, no, I don't want that gentrified dirt. So I dug up that dirt. I dug up that clay, and like after about a week, it was soft. I just put water on it, and I'd hoe it, and I'd hit it with the little hoe thing, and it's hard, and it hurts my arm and my back, and I learned how to do it right. And I planted seeds. And then once the seeds grew, I went out there every day on my hands and knees and just like sat there and looked at the little sprouts and gave them a bit of love and watered them carefully and was careful about it. And in about a couple of weeks, I had little fruit trees and vegetable trees and stuff was growing. And I had herbs and little fruits. And those zombies that walked up and down the block would stop, and instead of asking for dollars, they'd ask for fruit sometimes. So I'd give them a fruit. I don't care. I have a car. I can go to the grocery store. After a few weeks, those people had names. They weren't zombies to me anymore. They weren't just the people that walked up and down the street just looking for food or money or a dollar for a beer. Found that they lived in the apartments around the corner, and most of them, they just didn't have any money to pay anything besides rent. They're on Social Security. Some of them are veterans. Some of them are sexual assault survivors who never got it back together. And then I'd leave home and go to work, and I'd come home, and they'd be on my stoop like, hey, it's a good thing you're home. Somebody came by and had a package for you. I left it in the backyard for you. I had friends. The same people I thought were zombies like a couple months earlier were friends. I didn't really think about that a whole lot at the time, but now I think about that a lot. Because what I really want to do more than anything is defund these police. And people keep asking me, well, if you get rid of the police, who's going to take care of us? And I'm like, who's taking care of us now? There's nobody that's tilling this fucking soil. There's nobody that's seeing this hard clay and working with it. You know what I mean? Everybody that sees that clay and says, no, let's just go to Home Depot. I can buy bags of dirt and just put it over the top of this. That's what they really want. It's easy to just replace what you have, to just change it. Change the color, change the texture, change the whole thing. And then you grow something new out of what you already know. But the problem with our communities is that there's no one taking care of them. There's no one that's tilling the soil. There's no one that's looking at those little sprouts and going, oh no, one of the leaves are turning brown, let's go give that one extra water, or dig it up and put it in a separate pot for a little bit. There's no one that cares enough. There's no one that cares enough about every little piece. And it's hard. We have these busy lives. We have to go to work and pretend we're working for 8 hours a day. When we do all we're working like 3.5 max, right? But you gotta walk to the water cooler, you gotta talk to people, you gotta send a couple extra emails. You gotta explain why something didn't get done, so you send the email, then act like you had sent it earlier. You know, you do all that weird shit that we do, we waste our time. But we could be spending that time doing like real work. I work at a job that has billions of dollars in revenue. And we spend millions of dollars on projects and things. But we spend so much time trying to make it equal that we never actually make it equitable. We stopped doing the good in the hood parades. We stopped sponsoring those things. Why? And then we complain that there's crime. I spoke at a basketball tournament last week. And it was good to see the kids playing together. Kids from different neighborhoods playing each other, getting to know each other, arguing, resolving those differences. That was the same day that 150 shots were fired in a building in Southeast. And they say, if there's no cops, who's gonna stop that from happening? Well, the cops didn't stop it from happening, did they? It just happened anyway, didn't it? The other night I was out and I was arguing with cops on the front line. And the cops said, well, the reason that there's all these shootings now is because our gun reduction task force, whatever the hell it's called, has been canceled. And that's why the guns are everywhere now, because we're not there. And I said, the feds have been here for 3 weeks. What were you doing? He told me we were working the protest. I said, well, why? You were harassing us instead of doing your job. You're fully funded. You got all the money you asked for. And you're telling me you can't do your job because you don't have a department that focuses on black people? Then maybe we don't need these departments. Maybe we need counselors, not cops. Maybe we need places that are open for kids to go learn boxing and martial arts and learn self-confidence and restraint and self-control. Maybe instead of kids getting in trouble for fighting and getting criminal records as children, they need to go to the gym and work out for free. Because it's cheaper for us to send a kid to a gym than it is to send them to jail. We pay for that shit. We are paying for the criminalization of our own children. It's not just about this money. Everyone says, you know, there's the PERS account we could take from, and we should. There's someone at PERS making $67,000 a month on retirement. A month. $67,000 a month because they used to be an ophthalmologist at OHSU. And we're paying for that. So that does need to be fixed. But right now, these police need to be fixed. And not just because we need their money, because we need their money, but also because it's a moral imperative. The police eat us from both sides. They take our money, they starve our resources, and then they arrest us when we don't succeed. They criminalize entire neighborhoods. I was out at East Precinct the last few nights. They arrested nothing but black and Native people. They targeted us because that's the way they show us that they're in control. I'm gonna arrest these black people because a lot of these white people can go out there and get arrested and it's not gonna be a big deal. I can go out and get arrested and it's not gonna be a big deal. I've been in my job for 20 years. Wish they would say something. But a lot of these kids, they don't have that. Getting an arrest right now and they might get tacked on with a felony charge for resisting because their arm isn't bent over their head backwards fast enough and they can't afford a lawyer. And they end up with a felony because they were out here fighting for all of our freedom. And that's why this thing is so important. This is about black lives. We have been centering this conversation around black lives. But when we're free, all of us are free. All of us are free. Because I know everyone here that's white does not feel free. Probably no one here that's black feels free. And that's the difference that we're talking about. It's so important. It's so important that we continue to apply these thoughts and this equitous way of thinking to ourselves and to our peers continuously. It is not good enough to realize how oppressed you are and stop there. And this is the message I also send to my black men in the crowd. It is not enough to realize how oppressed you or your friends are. It's about everyone. When that situation happened at Riot Ribs, everyone wanted to flash on those kids, those gang kids, those street kids that took over. But when we thought about it, that was a union coup. Those kids didn't have anything, and the owners started making a lot of money. And then they said, we're going to expand, but the people that work there are homeless. So the people that were homeless took over because that was their restaurant. When we think about this and we reapply this way of thinking, it has to go all the way to the bottom. It's not enough for me to feel free. All of my people have to feel free. All of my people have to be free. The other day, Destiny said something that really touched me. She said, we need changes that we can feel in our bodies. When they ask us, when are the protests going to stop? We say, when we have change, we can feel in our black bodies. When it resonates through my soul, I will go home. Until then, I will be in these streets. With 50 to 100 to 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. We're not going to rest. And the revolution can't just be in these streets. We all came out for the protests, but who's going to stay for the revolution? Who's going to stay for the change that we can feel in our bodies? There's so much more than getting out here and getting beat up and getting shot at and getting gassed. There's the camaraderie that we feel when we're out there. There's the ability to take care of each other. There's the free healthcare. There's the free food. There's the waters. There's the pizza that's here right now. This is people taking care of people. That's where the revolution really is. So we have to capture that, and we have to take that to different places of our lives. We can't just encapsulate it here in army gear and helmets. We have to take that into our souls and into our jobs and to the things that we can do. If you can provide food, you can provide food. If you can change the education system, change the education system. If you can sell clothes, sell clothes. Whatever you do that helps the movement and that helps us be more equitable in our society, do that. Do that. It's not easy to let everything go. Everybody can't just quit their job and become a full-time justice worker. That's not going to work. But what can you do? Can you edit videos? Can you build a website? Can you help film something? Can you just organize a spreadsheet for someone? Can you get donations? What can you do? How can you help? How do you do this when the fight is over, when the physical fight is over and we all go home? How does this continue? That's the revolution. Don't let this just be a protest. We've had enough protests. I've been protesting for years. I never want to protest again. And that happens when we get justice. That's what I have to say. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. There's another speaker coming up who's extremely important. Continue to center the voices of black women, indigenous women, people of color in general, and people of all the different genders. The L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, the Q's, the pluses, and everyone else. Honor each other and take care of each other. My guys, Sam Thompson told me that unity does not require uniformity. And that's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard, because we're all different, and we all have different cultures, and different groups, and different friends, but we have a common goal. We want to defend the police and invest in our communities. So thank you.
Everyone who's here, we're going to be putting out all their Cashapps, Venmos on social media. If you are fortunate enough to have an income right now, maybe spread the wealth around. It really helps. Want to thank Z from the PDX Black Youth Movement. an absolutely incredible speaker. If you saw what they did with the skateboards going through town, if you see what they're doing now, find them, support them, help them. They are our future, and they're incredible people. I want to thank Destiny Houston, I want to thank Leigh Shelton, I want to thank DJ Tempo, Greg Matt Cider doing the kombucha, the hydration station doing food and donuts. I want to thank our vets to show up and defend our right for free speech. I want to thank all of you for coming out. Now, if you are willing and if you are able, there will be a march and protest going on. We will be assembling over here by the gazebo shortly. If you do not feel like doing that, that's totally cool. But if you do feel like doing it, take some time, maybe grab something to eat, some water, gather your things, and start mustering up here. It'll be starting in about, well, anarchist time. Thank you all for coming.